We'll show you the beautiful beach, but don't expect to spend much time in the sea here, it's pretty rough. You can see the whole resort in the cove here, looking down from our terrace on the sunset bluff. There was always boats going in and out and doing something around here. We were in room 21, by the way. There's a room review up on the channel, so I'll link to that in the description below. Some of those boats were bigger than others, folks. Loads of cruise liners from Point Seraphin over there. The little decorations by our wonderful housekeeper Martina. And the delightful decorations from our butler team. They were absolutely stunning. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, no review of Sandals is complete without mentioning the standout food and then those breathtaking views of the sunset from the bluff. But enough B-roll, let's see where we're starting this walk around on the map. So right outside our room was Armando's Italian restaurant, which was absolutely brilliant for breakfast. And you'll find these activity boards dotted around, letting you know what's going on of an evening. Just behind there, you can see a little set of steps. That'll take you down to the Sunset Bluff pool as well as the Sunset Bar. You can get to both of those through Armando's as well, but the separate steps mean that you don't have to walk through the restaurant. So our room, it was over on the left there. It was a 1-bedroom honeymoon butler suite with private pool. The room code is BS. I'll pop a link to that below as well. One of the features at this resort that you don't see at many Sandals locations is that in addition to having the Club Sandals lounge, you've also got the Butler Elite Lounge, which is coming up on the right hand side here next to Armando's. So that was our room, just looking back at it there. A really nice location. So yeah, so there's the Butler Lounge. And I want to introduce you to Trisha, one of the assistant managers in the Butler team, who looked after us brilliantly while we were there. Unfortunately, it was really humid on that day, and just as I started talking, my lens fogged up, so I'm going to pop her in the corner.
Hey Trisha, you want to say hello? The world, Trisha, the world. You having a good day?
I am very well. So what about you?
Yeah, really good, really good. I'm going to be doing a... Thank you.
Despite the weather, we're going to smile.
Thank you very much, and you. Take care.
I'm sorry, I know nobody's supposed to put Trisha in a corner, but what's an amateur YouTuber to do, right? So look, you've got this little lookout point that anyone can come and use, and just off to the left here, oi, Tooth, I can see your house from here. That's exactly where we were staying. This bay, like I said, really busy with boats and ships, always something going on to have a little look at. And as you look down the beach, you can see just over there, that's the main pool and the pavilion building. And there's a shuttle that runs up and down the bluff, or if you're in a butler suite, you just call them on the mobile phone provided, and they'll come and get you at any time. So, right, let's mooch on. So look, I might as well take the time while we're on this walk to tell you about the difference between Butler Elite, Club Sandals and Luxury, which are the 3 different levels at Sandals. So first off, the most affordable option is Luxury, and you'll probably have a fantastic holiday, absolutely you will. But the things to note are, there's no room service, you get a basic selection of drinks in your room, including wine and beer, but no sparkling wine or spirits, and once it's gone until it gets replenished the next day. When you arrive, you'll check in at the main reception, and when we did this in Barbados, it took about an hour, which is wearisome after a long trip. On the first morning after your arrival, you can choose to join a resort orientation group to find out what's on offer, and if you want to make reservations, you need to go to the restaurant hospitality desk, and then if you want to go on a tour, you have to go to the Island Routes desk, and if you want to book beauty treatments, you go to the Red Lane Spa, and if you want to book your water sports, you go down to the water sports office. Right, while we're doing that, let's just pause here because we're at 2 of the restaurants. This is Kimonos and Soy. Soy is a sushi restaurant that you don't need reservations for. Kimonos is the teppanyaki restaurant tucked into the side of the cliff overlooking the water. It's a theatre experience as much as a meal, highly recommended, and you do need reservations at that one. Just keeping you updated on where we are. Quick look at the map, you can see we've not got all that far yet. So anyway, back to Butler, Club and Luxury level. I was saying that when you're Luxury level, you'll have to visit all the various desks, and you'll normally find things like the restaurant reservations are very limited and you quite often have to queue to book this stuff up. One guy we were chatting to said he had to queue for 45 minutes to get his restaurants booked. The final thing to mention with luxury level is you'll need to get your towels and find a sunbed in the morning. And a lot of folk we spoke to at this resort were having trouble getting a spot at the pool or on the beach. So it can introduce a little bit of friction into an otherwise beautiful holiday. So how does that change when you move up to club level, which is the middle tier? So you get a slightly enhanced level of drinks in the room now, including spirits, but they are standard. You don't get to pick what goes in there, and you still don't get sparkling wine in the room. Although, to be fair, you could always grab a glass and take it back to the room with you. You'll also get in-room dining, usually from around 7 in the morning till 10 at night, and that's just off of a set room service menu. And you get access to the Club Sandals Lounge, which is where you'll be checked in by one of the dedicated Club Sandals concierges. The concierge will also take you to your room and show you where everything is, and then you can choose to have a private resort orientation tour. Concierge can also take care of all your bookings, so instead of visiting multiple desks, you just go to one and they'll look after you. You've got access to the air-conditioned Club Sandals Lounge throughout your whole stay. You'll find tea and coffee and soft drinks and alcoholic drinks, including sparkling wine there, as well as snacks like pastries, sandwiches and fresh fruit available all day. I guess the big thing to note is that with club level, you still need to get your own sunbeds, so that little bit of friction still exists. Right, we're going to pause again because we just arrived at the middle pool, located right next to the Pitons restaurant and Herbie's piano bar. Pitons is the second restaurant we've seen that requires reservations. This is where we chose to spend most of our time. It's quieter than the other two pools, stunning views. Just around there are the steps down to the beach. It's worth mentioning that all three pools have a whirlpool. And then just off to the right there at the end of that path is Neptune's restaurant, and up and past that you're heading back towards the main pool area. The rooms in this area are known as the Pitons Village. They're a combination of Butler Elite and luxury level rooms. And for my money, these are probably the nicest luxury level rooms on the resort, especially as you've got a private sun deck on them. But of course, it all depends if you want to be in the heart of the action or not. Personally, we prefer a little bit of peace and quiet in the room. So, as we mooch on, you can see that we're about to start going uphill again. This is a long ass way of getting to reception. You are much better off using these steps on the left and cutting down to the Pitons pool and then down another set of steps to walk through Neptune's and onto the main area that way. These conical domes on the roof of the Pitons restaurant are designed to be reflective of the Pitons mountains themselves. And now on the map you can see that we're pretty much smack bang in the middle of the resort. So we're going to head on up here and I'll loop back round the front so you can see the Pitons where we just left and this village up here from the beach as well. There are a couple of bits that I want to point out up here and then I'll get back to telling you about the 3 levels. We'll be moving on to Butler Elite. Just look at the views there, that's beautiful. And you can't help but notice how lush and green it is here. And there are teams of gardeners and landscapers out constantly looking after the resort. I guess one of the things that strikes me is that Sandals really tries to work in partnership with nature. One of the things here that I really like is you'll see these bird boxes all over the resort. And of course, the birds are a natural way of keeping the insects down. So it feels like a natural solution to a natural problem. Anyway, let's get back and talk about how things change when you opt for Butler Elite level. So first off, you get a butler team. We had 3 butlers, Garvey, Sydney and Roger. You'll be met by a butler on arrival and check-in happens in your room. The butler will unpack your cases for you if you want them to, but we prefer to do our own. You get a mobile phone to contact them, and you know, we're working class people. This was a real splurge for my wife's 50th, but even so, we still had to reduce the length of our holiday to be able to afford this level. And to be honest, what we really wanted was the private pool and the suite. It just happened to be a butler suite. So why am I telling you this? Well, look, Butler is a premium service at an already premium resort, and the butlers genuinely want to make sure that you have whatever you need whenever you need it. So to start, we were a little bit bleh about calling our butler, but genuinely they will be upset if you don't call them, if you don't use the service. You paid for the service, so please do use it. You also get to choose what alcohol and other drinks you want in the room. So Mrs. Tooth only drinks Prosecco. No problem, we had a new full-size bottle in an ice bucket in the room every day. Me, I prefer to sup slowly on beers all day and then have a few spirits as a nightcap, so I had Bailey's, dark rum and a decent bottle of brandy in the room. You can also get these replenished as and when you want. So for example, one day I rang and Sydney answers and I says to him, Sydney, we've got a major problem, my friend. What's that, Mr. Decay, he asks. I say, I've nearly run out of beer. He starts laughing. He goes, that's not a problem at all. And 5 minutes later, he arrives with 8 ice cold bottles for me. You can also order room service 24 hours a day with a butler suite. And while the butler team is on duty and the restaurants are open, they'll bring you any meal from any restaurant, which is handy because Mrs. Tooth loves fish and I ate it. Hate it, not ate it, because I don't like it. So I wouldn't eat it. Anyway, she got a meal from Neptune's delivered and I got wings from the Cricketers pub and we got to eat together on our terrace. The only exception to that is soy because they're dealing with raw fish and the restaurant will not hand over the food to the butlers because of the risk of cross-contamination. But other than that, fill your boots. The butlers had also pre-booked a reservation at each of the 3 restaurants that needed it. The third one that we haven't mentioned yet is La Toc French restaurant. And now you don't have to go to the individual desk to book this stuff or even to the concierge desk. You just ring the butler and they book everything for you. And they'll even come and escort you to your activities, drive you down there. We found by far, I think, the most beneficial element was that they will book sunbeds or cabanas for you, either at the pools or the beach. The only exception being the main pool, which is fair in my book, because it means that everyone has an equal chance of getting a bed there. Not only that, they will also stock a cool box with whatever drinks you want and bring it to your bed. So we had Prosecco beer and water in ours every day. And then they randomly pop by with a cocktail or a pizza. I guess my one bit of advice is to give the butlers enough to work with, but don't be so prescriptive that you don't give them a chance to surprise and delight you. See them as an extension of Team You and then let them do what they're best at. Finally, tipping butlers is allowed, whereas it isn't anywhere else apart from the Red Lane Spa. And roughly around 20 to 30 US dollars per day per butler is about average. And while it isn't necessary, I truly think that you'd want to by the end of the week. Right, so we're coming back down to the main lobby now. You've just seen all the international flags welcoming people from across the globe. You've got the Emerald Village rooms here and the resort shop, which is surprisingly well stocked. I've got a separate video on that, so the link will be below. Then you've got the Loyalty and Travel Lounge. We got our t-shirts and a bottle of rum as returning guests. And if you are planning another Sandals holiday, this is where you'll get the cheapest rate. Also out here is the jewellery shop. And there's a designated smoking area here as well. Just checking in on the map again, we're about to walk through the lobby to the Pavilion Buffet restaurant and then the main pool. As we go through, there are some steps down to the pavilion, and behind them is another set of steps going up. It's right next to the Club Sandals Lounge, goes up to the Cricketers pub. In this area, you'll find the main reception, the island routes desk, the restaurant reservations desk is downstairs, and so on. And this is also where you pick up the shuttle to go to the other 2 resorts on the island under the stay at one, play at all policy. So there's the Pavilion restaurant, and this is where the evening entertainment will be most nights as well. Just here on my left are the steps to La Toc French restaurant. I mentioned that this is the 3rd restaurant that requires reservations, and it's also the only one of the 9 restaurants on site that requires formal resort attire. What the website says that means is dress trousers or jeans for men, long or short sleeve dress shirts with or without a collar, and then dress shoes or sandals. And it specifically says no shorts, no t-shirts, no sleeveless shirts, no trainers, no flip-flops, no slippers and no hats. So there you go. And then we go down to the main pool area with that stunning view out of the ocean and the beautiful waterfall feature in the rocks. You can see that some local traders are allowed on site, but they don't hassle you in the slightest. It's nice that Sandals is working with local folks to actually, try and give them a living as well. And it's not all being sold through the shop. There are some seating areas and fire pits here, as well as the pagoda where you can have a massage. As we approach the Bella Napoli Pizzeria and Neptune's, which has this amazing beachfront location. You've got these cabins right on the front that you can hire and have like a mini butler experience with a stocked cool box for the day. Now, as we get to the end here, you can see that we're just below the Piton's restaurant and the middle pool. With that access point to the beach that I mentioned, the hammock and big chairs, another designated smoking area, and there's a shower there as well. The grounds here are absolutely stunning, folks. You'll just love it. It is really beautiful. Down at that far end of the beach, you'll find the water sports office, and Sandals actually allows people, I think it's up to 2 tanks of oxygen a day to go scuba diving for free, which is a really surprising inclusion. I'm not aware of anywhere else that does that. There's a ping pong table here. And then we'll head into the pavilion. Around by the buffet. And over towards the bar, because it really is cocktail o'clock now. I hope this has been useful, folks. If you like, give us a like. One last view of that sunset. And it's late as potatoes. Off you pop.